Okay, time for a new video, and whether you are somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this in one go, so if I stumble over my words moving forwards, I apologise about that, and I also apologise in advance if the quality of this video is fairly poor as well, if there's any lag, anything like that at all. Sadly, it cannot be helped, and hopefully it is not too much of an issue for you. This is yet another Junior Eurovision 2021 related video here on my channel. The last time I'll be talking about Junior Eurovision this year, because the contest is now over. Yesterday, at the time of recording this video, it was the grand final of this year's Junior Eurovision Song Contest at La Scène Musicale in Paris. 19 nations were involved, and Armenia triumphed for the second time, just ahead of Poland, who finished second. You may well have seen my video that I uploaded yesterday, where I pretty much reacted to the results as they came in. I was watching the YouTube stream on my TV. I was very glad Armenia won. Kami is my favourite of the year, still, at this point. That might change moving forwards, because as I get older and listen to the songs more, your opinions inevitably change a little bit. But for now, Kami remains my personal winner, and of course, the real-life winner. What I'm going to do in this video is just go through the songs again, give you my brief thoughts on the performances, give you my current ranking of all of the songs, and as always, let me know what you think in the comments, leave a like, whatever it is, much appreciated. Links in the description to my other social media pages as well. So I've got my notebook here because I did want to make notes during the show. I thought the hosts were fine. Carla's English, maybe not the best, but we can overlook that, it matters little. And I liked the opening act with the dancers in the colours of the French flag. I liked the interval act, which seemed to fly by. In the adult competition, it seems to drag on and on and on. But in the junior competition, yesterday, it seemed to be over in the blink of an eye. We had Valentina, she sang very well, and it was a lovely performance. And then Barbara Pravi sang Voilà, the runner-up in Rotterdam earlier this year, and that was just tremendous, as we all knew it would be as well. So Germany opened the show once again. This was Pauline, or Paulina, with Imagine Us. I've written here, colourful, purple, flowers, orange rays of light, a fine opener. There is a rainbow that appears at one point. Imagine Us appears on the backdrop as well. Pauline seems to be having a great time. Her vocals were really good, and I have to say, one of the many strengths of this year's show is just how good these young musicians were. So many great, powerful vocals, more than we've perhaps ever had in the history of the show. We also had images of children holding signs up on the backdrop. The stage looked great, and I just really liked the fact that this wasn't over the top. There wasn't too much going on stage. It was all really nicely put together. And I have to say, I've said this before, the revamp of this song just made this tune so much better, gave it so much more energy, so much more life. It felt so optimistic. It was such a great opener to the show. Of course, Germany essentially was picked out at random to open proceedings. In the end, 17th place, 61 points. That is really low for what is a very fine song. I can only assume people forgot about it. Germany finished 14th in the online vote with 46 points, which isn't too bad, and 16th with 15 points from the juries, receiving a high mark of 5 from Serbia. So it is a step in the right direction compared to their debut entry, where they finished last with Susan, but still a bottom 3 result. Next time, hopefully something even greater, and maybe they could even challenge for the win. Then we have song 2, which was Georgia. Now, I still don't really love this song, but there's no denying it was a very solid performance all round. Let's Count the Smiles by Niko Kazhaya. 4th place, Georgia, in my opinion, punching above their weight again, with 163 points. I think I just misjudged how well this song was going to be received. It really came up on the rails in the build-up to this year's competition. I've written here, very charismatic, summery pastel shades and shapes on the backdrop, great singer, 2 female dancers with him in dungarees, I think it was, and they really added a lot. If it had just been him on stage, I don't think it would have been as impressive. I mean, he would have been able to carry the performance a little bit, but I think having the dancers there just gave this song a little extra kick, made it stand out a little bit more. It was very nice. I've written the song just not that strong, question mark. I mean, I think it runs out of steam a little bit, but it's so catchy, and you do find yourself, I don't know about you, but I find myself humming the melody along a little bit. Um, Effortless, I've written here as well. I think that's absolutely true. This is not meant as an insult, but it almost looked as though he wasn't really putting much effort into singing the song. But he was, and he was singing really well. So credit to him as a performer. If we take a look at the split results, 5th with the juries, 7th in the online vote. He received 3 sets of 12 points from Malta, Armenia and France. 4th place is maybe a little high, but he definitely deserved to be up there, truth be told. Then we have Poland, always likely to push for the win. She finished 2nd, did Sarah James with Somebody, 218 points. I've written here that we had on-screen effects. There was this sort of flower that flew past at one point, I think it was. Lots of blue and purple. That was the colour scheme of the year, clearly. Great singer. She didn't really move around too much. I would have liked to see her be a little bit more energetic, perhaps. She did have dancers, and they were all very synchronised, and that was great. Yeah, I've written synchronised choreography. Does this stand out enough at the end of the show? Yeah, I mean, I think I said it in my reaction. I didn't really remember the Polish performance by the time the voting began, because it was on so early. And I think that's just, you know, down to the running order and the producers sticking her on so early. But it's a great song, so contemporary, really catchy. The fact that it's in Polish and English doesn't really bother me at all. I think actually it's not jarring that much. She's probably going to have a very bright future in the industry. If we take a look at the split results, Poland did very well with the juries, 2nd, just behind France. Poland was 2nd in the online vote as well, just behind Armenia, and in the end finished 2nd overall, and I think that's deserved. We then move on to Malta. This was Ike and Kaya with My Home. Really not bad, but it's so cheesy. You can sort of get away with this in Junior Eurovision, not so much the grown-up show. But I think, in all honesty, the fact that this is quite a saccharine-type entry, that was just off-putting to me. I couldn't enjoy this as much as I wanted to, but still not a bad track. Vocals were really good, even his voice was pretty nice. And at the end, you sort of had the backdrop split in two. You had the sort of balloons and the blue sky on one side, and then you had the sort of zebra print pattern on the right. And the swirling, not swirling, but the big geometric pattern in the middle as well in shades of gold and black. Yeah, I've just written that mainly it's all about the vocals and the fact that it's a fairly cheesy song. Yeah, sweet, exactly. So many performances this year were sweet and cute and so apt and right for Junior Eurovision. But this song just didn't have the oomph that some of the other tracks had. In the end, 12th place is not bad, 97 points. 11th with the juries, 11th with the public, the online vote, and 12th overall. Not a disgrace, not at all. We then move on to Italy. Well, this is absolutely one of my favourites of the year. It's currently my number 2. Elisabetta Litza with Specchio Mirror on the Wall. 10th place for this. A little underrated if you ask me. 107 points. This was just great. It started off in a somewhat shaky manner. I wasn't too sure where it was going. Maybe she was a bit nervous. But then as we moved past the minute mark, it just ramped up, and it was just so fantastic to watch. Loads of flashing lights. She was really enjoying herself in that white dress and black jacket. She had dancers with her, and I really liked the sort of shaky camera effect because it just gave the song more of a rock vibe, you know. It really fit in with the style of song. I thought so many of the performances this year, the lighting and the camera work, really bang on the money, so good job, Paris. Yeah, I haven't really written too much about Italy's performance. I just thought that it was really, really strong. A little bit of grit in her voice in the chorus as well. I hoped it was going to do so much better, but in the end, 10th place, I'm not too surprised. Looking at the split results, Italy was 9th with the juries, 12th with the public. That really is a little bit low. I forgot to mention that Poland received 12 from the German and Irish juries. Malta received a high of 8 from Ukraine and Georgia, and Italy received a high mark of 10 from Albania. But yeah, really good stuff from Italy, clearly inspired a little bit by Maneskin's win in Rotterdam earlier in the year. Bulgaria was after Italy. This is my least favourite of the year now. It's Denislava and Martin with Voice of Love, 16th place, 77 points. Again, very sweet, maybe sickly sweet. They had the tent on stage. We saw the shadow work at play. That was very nice. There was something very tender and intimate about this performance. The golden lighting, really lovely. The sort of drapes coming down from the ceiling, that was really nice too. Staged in a very simplistic, beautiful manner. The song itself, though, just not memorable. And that's pretty much everything that I've written here. It's a so-so song, as simple as that. If we take a look at the split results, Bulgaria actually finished above Spain and Portugal, more on them later, but Bulgaria did all right with the juries, 13th, 39 points. Bulgaria was second last in the online vote, 38 points, and they obviously were 16th overall. Then we have Russia. Now, the momentum with the Russian track totally disappeared last week. I know that Tanya's voice was shot to pieces, and she couldn't sing in the first rehearsal, and I think her voice was still a little bit dodgy yesterday, but still, I thought she sounded pretty good. But I never really thought that this was a contender to win. Certainly last week, in the build-up to the live show, I didn't see many people say, Russia's winning, Russia's winning. It was more Poland, it was more France, it was more Armenia. So Russia sort of faded out of the background. It's faded into the background a little bit, I meant to say. So obviously, yes, Tanya Mezhentsev, Mon Ami, she started off cycling, and then later on she was in that hoop, and there were fireworks on the backdrop, she had dancers. I just wanted the song to stand out a little bit more. Not necessarily the staging, but the song. It just didn't quite have the spark that I wanted it to. Let me know your thoughts on that. But anyway, I've written here, very cute. There was this sort of spring-like cityscape on the backdrop. I don't know what I've written there. Lacking something. Fireworks. Yeah. And I've written here, it didn't come across as strong as it perhaps should have done on the night. Nevertheless, in the split results, 6th with the jury, 10th in the online vote. That does surprise me a little bit. Portugal well ahead. And then, obviously, 7th overall. Moving on, Ireland. Underrated, it's got to be said. Having seen the whole thing, I thought it was a job well done, really. Mayu Levy-Lawler with Sour Disappear. Performed in Irish, 18th place, second last, 44 points, a real shame. It was sort of monochrome, this sort of washed out grey effect at the start. And then as the sort of chorus kicked in, we saw splashes of colour and sort of like building shapes on the backdrop as well. He's got such a deep voice. I still don't know whether it really suited this style of song, but he was really energetic. He was moving about like this, and the camera work a little bit similar to Italy, flitting backwards and forwards between wide shots and more close-up images. Yeah, I've just written here, great energy, but in all honesty, I think it needed to be even brighter, more colours in this performance right from the start, because that would have sort of gone with the type of song that this is, if you see what I mean. Anyway, he was last with the jury, 5 points, and that all came from Italy. He was 17th with the online vote and 18th overall, of course. We move on to Armenia, but I'm going to gloss over them because they won, so we'll skip straight ahead to Kazakhstan, I believe it is. Kazakhstan, Alinur Kamzin and Beknur Janibekuli with Fairy World, 8th place, 121 points. This, for me, I'm not going to say overrated, but I think 8th is a little bit high, because this song really isn't that sensational. I didn't see many people online really rave about it, but I suppose there's something very sweet about it. Again, we had that blue and purple colour scheme, this sort of watery effect as well. I think they went for a sort of underwater nautical theme, if I recall. The vocals really good. I mean, both of them did a pretty good job. It was a very static performance, as we sort of expected, but my word, the vocals at the end in particular, he was just really belting it away. In the split results, 7th with the jury, 9th in the online vote, 8th overall. I've also written here that he overdid it in terms of the vocals towards the end. I mean, yes, he sang very well, but maybe he was really, really trying a bit too hard. I don't know, that's not an insult, because truth be told, everybody sang really well yesterday. There were no dud performances, really. We've got to move on. It's Albania next. Oh, my days, my days. Every single year, with the adult competition and the junior competition, there's always 1 or 2 or maybe 9 or 10 artists that just stand out to me. And it might not be because I like their song, but more because I just think that they're pretty cool, or they seem to have a nice personality, or whatever it is. And Albania's Ana Gibraya is somebody whose music I'd like to keep an eye on moving forwards. I just think she's great. This performance was so good. Vocally, you know, it could have been a bit better, but she was moving about, so we'll cut her some slack. But this was great. She had desks on stage. They went for this sort of high school theme, the white uniforms, the A on her sweater. And she was dancing about, and the backdrop so vibrant, squiggles everywhere, her name. At the start, we had sort of all of these sort of insults that bullies might give you, like weak, brainless, all that sort of stuff. I mean, it's a song with a really good message. I've said that before. This finished in 14th place with 84 points. That is low. This deserved better. Albania was 12th with the jury, 16th. Ugh, shocking. In the online vote. I mean, I voted for Anna when the voting was open yesterday. Before the show was broadcast, when the voting was open, I voted for Armenia, Spain, and Italy. And then yesterday, during the voting procedure in the show, I voted for Albania, Italy, and Armenia. So yes, I did give a little bit of love to Anna, and this song, really, really good. Deserved better, simple as that. And I just thought she performed it really well. It's the best staging I think I've ever seen from an Albanian song in either contest. Let me know your thoughts on that. Moving on to Ukraine. Well, this was fierce, powerful, everything I wanted it to be. It's grown on me quite a bit, but it's still actually not that high up in my ranking. That just shows what a strong year it was. Olena Usenko, ginger hair, black outfit, and a red top, I think it was. Alone on stage, totally in control of this performance, really impressive stuff. I would not be surprised if she tries to represent Ukraine in the adult competition in a few years. This was Vashil, which means lever or leverage. I've written here, very dark, very grown up. It did feel very mature, absolutely. We had sort of orange and gold lighting towards the end. The swirling spotlights. It was so effective. It was so well done. And Olena's voice, mwah, chef's kiss. It was just so good. Absolutely tremendous. She's got such an interesting tone to her voice. And it really matched this song, which she co-wrote as well. Very impressive. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was one of the strongest performances of the year. And she finished 6th with 125 points, 8th with the juries, 5th in the online vote, 6th overall. Moving on, France. Well, this was just splendid. Magnifique, I think is the correct term to use. This was so good. So good. One of the finest Junior Eurovision performances I think I've ever seen. This was Enzo with Tic Tac, representing his homeland, of course. 3rd place, 187 points, very impressive. We knew he was going to do well anyway. He won the jury vote, just. He was 4th in the online vote, and obviously 3rd overall. They went for this sort of classic, almost Great Gatsby style theme with the staircase, the dancers in their sort of shimmery dresses, the guys smartly dressed as well, and then of course we had images of dancers on the backdrop too. I've just put here, bags of charisma, very charming, and you just knew at the end of that performance that it was going to do well. You know, it was going to push for the win, and it was between him and Milena at the end, and I think he was so disappointed not to win. But, I mean, it was sort of a winner's performance in a way. If this had been any other year, he may well have won by an absolute mile. Tremendous stuff, and he just looked so comfortable. That really impressed me as well. We then move on to Azerbaijan. Not made too many notes about this. This was song 14, Sonu Razizova with One of Those Days. 5th place, their best result in JESC history, with 151 points. She was 4th in the jury vote. I was not expecting her to be that high, but I suppose they appreciated these incredible vocals. Really, really tremendous stuff. She was way down, 15th, oof, in the online vote. That really is quite low. And obviously 5th overall. I should say that Kazakhstan received 12 points from the Russian jury, not a shock. Albania received a high of 10 from North Macedonia. Ukraine got 12 from Bulgaria and Spain. France got 12 from Georgia and the Netherlands and Serbia. And Azerbaijan got 12 from Italy and Ukraine. Yes, indeed. Yeah, the Azerbaijani performance was really simple. Sona was in a white dress. There was a blue colour scheme, but more of a lighter shade, and it was sort of like a neon effect. It was just her on stage. I thought she did a tremendous job. I really do like the song. Again, not terribly high in my ranking, but you've got to appreciate it for what it is, and a lot of people did. Deserved better in the online vote. I think maybe people just forgot about it. Moving on to song 15, exactly what I thought was going to happen here. I said in a previous video that coming between Azerbaijan and Spain, the Netherlands might get swallowed up. That's exactly what happened. I did not expect this song to finish last, though. That is a first for the Dutch. Of course, the only nation now to compete in every single edition of this show. This was Ayana with Mata Suguau Ne, performed in Dutch, English, and with that Japanese phrase. 19th, 43 points. This was, I don't want to be harsh, but this was quite a dull performance, really. I don't know how they could have staged it in any other way. Ayana was there doing her thing, singing well. She had the screen behind her, the two dancers waving the fans. This was clearly a very touching and personal and perhaps emotionally charged performance, but it just didn't live long in the memory. It's as simple as that. I think the Netherlands are better when they go for something that's much more up-tempo. So maybe next year we'll get something like that. My winner last year, not this year, Netherlands were 17th with the jury, last in the online vote, last overall. I'm really surprised by that, because the Netherlands usually fares pretty well in the online vote. Remember Force a couple of years ago, the boy band? They did very well, came out of nowhere. But yeah, pink trees on the backdrop. A letdown. Yeah, it was a bit disappointing, I've got to be honest. We then move on to Spain. Well, this was a bit of a disappointment too. This was Levi Diaz with Reír, which means laugh, 15th place. Wow, that top 4 record for Spain every time they've competed. Smash! That's gone to pieces. 77 points for this. The Netherlands, I should say, received a high of 4 from Italy. Spain received a high of 6 from Armenia. Yeah, again, we had this sort of purple colour scheme. He had a prop on stage. I think it was supposed to be some sort of train carriage or bus carriage. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know about you. There I am saying that everybody sang well, and they did a very good job indeed. But I thought his vocals weren't nearly as strong as they could have been. There was something missing for me. There was something off about his performance in general. It just didn't live up to expectations. It needed a little bit more firepower, to be honest with you. I've written here, very similar to Lavender, and we know that Lavender didn't do very well in the adult competition 2 years ago. Yeah, and I've mentioned his vocals and this sort of nighttime, sort of purple colour scheme that they were going with on the backdrop. Yeah, I like the song very much, but I have gone off it a bit. And I was expecting a much higher online vote mark. If we take a look, he was 14th in the jury vote, 13th with the online vote, and 15th overall. It says here that he finishes above Bulgaria overall because he had a higher online vote mark. So there you go. Serbia, song 17. I've got to say, I actually really enjoyed this, even though it was so minimalistic. This was Giovanna and Dunja with Oči Deteta Children's Eyes, 13th place, 86 points. It was pretty much all one camera shot, wasn't it? Again, the backdrop was sort of half and half, and they had this sort of mirror on stage that they were interacting with. They were in sort of, I don't know what the style is, plaid dresses. They had berets. It was so cute. And there was something about it that I just really found quite captivating. I don't know what, because the song doesn't really do anything for me, but it was, again, a job well done. Let me know what you think about Serbia. In the split results, they were 15th with the juries, but 6th in the online vote, coming out of nowhere. I don't know how that's happened, really, but 6th is seriously impressive. I mean, that's above Russia, that's above Italy, that's above Spain, my goodness. And so, yeah, 13th place overall, 86 points, a high mark of 7 from Georgia and North Macedonia in the jury vote. I mean, even the choreography, it was so very simple, but so well done at the same time. I thought the voices, the harmonies, really good. Got to move on. North Macedonia, song 18. Yeah, did not see this winning at all. I know a lot of people really love it. I don't mind it. But I didn't think for 1 minute that this was going to win the online vote. Daite Musica, 4 musicians on stage from that troupe, if you like, with Green Forces, 9th place, 114 points. Not bad, but I think maybe we were expecting a little bit higher. 10th with the juries, 8th in the online vote, and 9th overall, receiving a high mark of 12 from Albania, geographical neighbours perhaps playing a part there. I said it before, I'll say it again. In the studio version, you almost couldn't hear, at least I couldn't really hear, female vocals. And then during the performance yesterday, I still couldn't really hear female vocals, even though there were 2 girls bopping away on stage. It was only really towards the end that I could hear them. There was just a lot of sort of bouncing up and down, moving from side to side. There wasn't really any sort of plan to the choreography almost. On the backdrop, there was a lot going on. I know that they played... I know that they played a bit of the music video towards the end. Very sort of pop, urban, mature for Junior Eurovision perhaps. Yeah, I just didn't see it doing as well as people thought it would. Not at all. But a 9th place is not to be sniffed at. That leaves Armenia, of course. But Portugal, wow, closing the show. Simão Oliveira, O Rapaz, all about the eyes. He was just... big eyes throughout this performance. This was classy, stripped back, you know, sort of greyed images of a Portugal gone by on the backdrop. I really liked the lighting effects. It was so simple. He was so smartly dressed in that sort of brown jacket and the hat. Yeah, this was just really classy. And it makes me wonder that if Portugal sent something very similar to this to the adult competition, would people gravitate towards it? I don't know. Obviously, you've got more countries voting, and you've got to get through a semi-final as well in the grown-up competition. But this was so good. 11th place, 101 points. I haven't really changed my opinion on the song. I don't really like it much more than I did before. But it was really nice. You know, very pleasant to listen to, a fine closer to proceedings. He was terribly underrated by the jurors. I'm not sure what that's about. 18th place. But he was third in the online vote. Not far behind Poland. That is remarkable. I mean, I know that he's somewhat famous in Portugal for winning The Voice Kids, so maybe loads of Portuguese people just voted for him over and over again. But at the same time, clearly he got a lot of love from other countries as well, which I just wasn't really expecting. Well done to Portugal. Their best result in JESC history, 11th place. He received a high mark of just 4 from Malta and from Bulgaria. Nothing from Spain. But there we are. That leaves Armenia. Kami, Kami, da, da, da. I mean, it was the favourite, the clear favourite, the fan favourite. Everybody loved this track, it seems. And it won 224 points. And I think it's deserved. I said this yesterday. This song and this victory, I think maybe will herald in a new era for Junior Eurovision. I think we are probably going to get more mature sounding songs moving forwards. If this song had been in the grown-up contest for Armenia, it would push for the win. I feel pretty confident saying that. Let me know what you think. Malena is a star in the making. So many of these musicians this year are stars in the making. She could easily go to the adult competition in a few years. I don't know if she was totally comfortable on stage. I mean, she performed very well. Wasn't such a fan of the outfits, but it is what it is. There was a lot going on the screen behind her as well. There was choreography, mainly from her dancers. She was just moving about a little bit. Her voice, really good. Those high notes towards the end, nailed them. I've actually watched a video online where somebody was filming this performance from the arena. It sounded spot on. And what's very impressive about this is I wasn't sure the juries would go for this because of how grown up it feels. She was third, and only 5 points behind Enzo for France. She won the online vote by a narrow margin. We knew it would be close between her and Poland. And she won overall. Absolutely fantastic. It could be Yerevan 2022. I've written here, Armenia, where are we looking? Atmospheric, moody, modern. And I really liked that shot at the start where the sort of ceiling of the arena turned into this sort of space-like atmosphere. That was really good. It reminded me of the Great Hall at Hogwarts, you know. That was just a great shot. And the performance was great. We had the pyros at the end. Everything was really working, coming together really nicely. And nobody was surprised, I don't think, when this came out on top. I did see a few angry fans mainly Polish fans, saying things about how, if we take a look at the voting, Poland gave Armenia 12, Armenia gave Poland 1. And I don't think you can look into this too much. Is it tactical? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, there was some political voting, Armenia and Azerbaijan. Let's rank them rock bottom, you know what I mean? But look, you can't look into the voting too much and say one thing and then this thing. It is what it is. The Polish song, great. Armenia, great. Both of them deserve to be up there pushing for the win, and it went right down to the wire. And France were up there as well. It was backwards and forwards. Even Georgia looked like they might win at one point. I should say Armenia did get 12 from, as I mentioned, Poland and also Portugal. So there you go. I thought the Portuguese jury were going to go for something completely different, but there we are. So yes, not much else to say really. I know that it was record viewing figures in France, the lowest viewing figures for ages in the Netherlands. It says here that 4.3 million people voted, or rather 4.3 million votes were cast during the show. Armenia had 425,000 approximate, Poland 398,000, Portugal 359,000, and then the Netherlands last on 133,000, which is still pretty good. Also interesting, it says here that some of the spokespersons were just local students from Paris. I mean, we did have a few recognisable faces like Alexander for Ukraine, Angelina for France. But yeah, we just had students from Paris give out some of the points. And why stick them in envelopes? I mean, come on now, at least have the envelopes open. Don't stand there faffing around for ages. Yeah. That's all there is to say. I think it was a tremendous job, considering that we are in the midst of a pandemic, and here in the UK, Christmas might be cancelled again. What the hell is going on with our government? I thought it was... everything just came together so well. Well done to Paris and the broadcaster. Tremendous. Next year will be the 20th anniversary of Junior Eurovision. We may see a few Nordic countries come back. We might see Iceland debut. But yeah, it looks as though it could be Yerevan 2022. Let me know your thoughts. Check out my other social media pages. Apologies if the quality of this video was a little bit iffy. I think this is my last video of the year. I don't know if there'll be anything else to come. Going back to the adult competition, some more contenders for Spain are being released over the next couple of days, I believe it is, and into the new year. We know all of the names in contention for Croatia and Slovenia now, so I need to do my research there. And obviously it's the Albanian selection, thick, later in the week, which I will keep an eye on, and there'll be a blog post about the winner. Check out my blog if you so wish, my Twitter page, everything's down below. Thank you very much for the support, and now I'm going to relax and rest my voice, because it is starting to hurt. Until next time, take care of yourselves, let me know what you think in the comments below, and until next time, bye for now. Maybe see you in the new year, who knows.